For the last 8 weeks, I've been eating and training like a demon slayer to try to achieve one goal, and that is to touch my toes before the end of this series. Not only that, but I'm also going through an entire catalog of Taisho inspired foods. All of those foods which may have been some of the demon slayer's favorite dishes. Today, I'm going to be diving into the life of Shinobu, the insect Hashira, and eating some of her favorite foods. If you're new here to the series, I'm going to leave a full playlist for you to watch below that I'm covering for every single Hashira. We only have a couple of weeks before Infinity Castle releases. I'm excited for it. I have my movie tickets, and now I get to eat a ton of ginger. Maybe we do a deep dive into the world and food of Legend of Zelda. I think that would be so fun. Now, Shinobu's favorite food is tsukudani ginger, a type of ginger that's cooked down with soy sauce, mirin, a bit of water, and some sugar. What's interesting about this dish is that it's not really a dish in and of itself, but more of an accompaniment to other dishes. It's also not really known as to why she loves this dish. There was some information that I found that this was actually a dish that just reminded her of her home or her sister. But tsukudani is actually a style of cooking that goes way back to the Edo period. It was originally used to preserve small fish, seaweed, and other shellfish by simmering them in the soy sauce and mirin and sugar. This gave them a ton of flavor and seasoning, and it would make them last a few days when refrigeration wasn't really a thing. By the Taisho Era, when Demon Slayer takes place, tsukudani had really expanded to include vegetables and especially things like ginger. But ginger isn't just about flavor. Historically, it's also carried a ton of medicinal importance as well. It was believed to keep the body warm, help with digestion, and even fight off fatigue. This makes it a natural fit for someone like Shinobu, who not only fights demons with medicinal poisons, but also is the main healer of the Demon Slayer corpse. Pairing tsukudani ginger with a simple bowl of rice gave people in Taisho Era something super affordable, really tasty, and pretty nourishing throughout the day. The rice gives you this really clean, natural energy, and the ginger with the salt does help hydrate you and give a ton of flavor to the rice. It's kind of like a natural energy shot back then. But more importantly, it's really the kind of breakfast that best reflects Shinobu. She's small, subtle, but she's really, really powerful. Do you know what I find really interesting about Shinobu as a character is that she really reminds me, and this is maybe a throwback to a lot of you, she really reminds me of Unohana from Bleach. She was one of the original Kenpachi, and she is incredibly powerful. One of the most powerful captains in all of Bleach, but she is very unassuming. Back in the day when I was watching Bleach, I would see her and I would think there's something more to Unohana. I feel like Shinobu is like that. Really unassuming, but incredibly powerful. I feel like that's reflected in this dish in a lot of ways. The ginger itself is just cooked in a very simple way, paired with the white rice, but it's going to have a punch. Now, there are two ways of making this. You can actually boil the ginger in a little bit of water to remove a lot of the harshness, but I actually like that punch of ginger. So I'm gonna have it this way. Cheers. It's beautiful. I mean, you get a little bit of the kick from the ginger, you get the flavors of the soy sauce and the mirin, but it's not overwhelming. You have to like ginger though. I love ginger, and this is right up my alley. This is gonna go really well in the lunch I'm gonna make later. But since we are in the Taisho Era, I'm gonna say we have found some coffee, which I'm gonna go get before I do some of my stretching training before lunch. Now, unfortunately, today's also leg day, so that means I have to do double stretch training plus leg day on the same day. So for the first part of the day, I'm actually gonna focus on my knee strength. Yes, this sounds super strange, but as you get older, it's really important to make sure your knees still work really well, so this way it doesn't hurt when you stand up out of your chair after playing video games all day. The warm-ups and stretches that I'm doing before leg day actually do help me loosen up before getting started. And honestly, I was not able to do this before I started all of this Demon Slayer training. I'm really happy with the progress so far, but I still have a ways to go. I won't bother you with all of this gym stuff, but I basically just did a standard leg day today. I worked on some thighs and some more thighs, and then I worked on some hamstrings because those are really important. But the main one is this Jefferson curl, which does help me reach the flexibility that I'm looking for. If you haven't tried this before, you can do this with a really heavy book and just try to get that book to touch the ground. I finished it off with a little bit of walking, but now I really want some lunch because breakfast wasn't that filling for me. Now, one of the things I haven't made on this journey so far is one of my favorite things to make and eat, especially given how popular this dish is in Japan, the egg salad sandwich. Let me explain. Now, its roots do go back to the Meiji area around the 1870s to early 1900s, but bread was actually introduced much earlier by the Portuguese in the 1600s. It just didn't catch on until much later. By By the Meiji period, bread was becoming a little more common, but eggs were still seen as a Western-style protein, which is wild to think because Japan's egg game is crazy. But this all started to change in the Taisho era where Demon Slayer takes place. This is when the light, fluffy, delicious shokupan started to really take off, and that's all thanks to kisaten, or those coffee houses. These Western-style cafes started to pop up all across the country, and they were introducing simple meals like sandwiches. The egg salad sandwich, or tamago sando, fit right into this new culture. It was cheap, filling, and only needed a couple of ingredients. Hard-boiled eggs mashed with butter at the time, or sometimes imported mayo. Kewpie mayo wasn't invented until around 1925, but versions of the egg salad sandwich were already around in this era. Eating lighter Western-style meals became a symbol of modern life, and sandwiches were at the heart of that shift. Think about how you might grab a quick peanut butter and jelly before heading out the door, and that's exactly how the tamago sando fit into the Taisho era of Japan.
There's your bread. You can't have bread, mister. Or bad for you. You know what you can have? You can have a minnow. Come on, come here. Everybody wants to say hi. They don't actually care about these videos unless you're in them. There you go. Oh, Jesus, that was aggressive. Gandalf, this is my lunch. You can't have this. No, I don't have any more. I don't have any more minnows for you. No more minnow.
Now that our Lord Gandalf has been entertained, let's get back to this egg salad sandwich. Even today, it's still one of Japan's most accessible foods. You can find it in any convenience store, sandwich shop, and even vending machines. For me, it's the perfect example of Japan blending Western influence with Japanese taste, and honestly, it's one of my favorite sandwiches to make and eat. But I wanted to take this a step further and use some of Shinobu's favorite food, the tsukudani ginger, right into that sandwich to make it something completely different, something I've never had before, and something I'm incredibly excited to try.
And this is a Taisho Era inspired sandwich with Shinobu's favorite food, the tsukadani ginger. God, it's so hard to pronounce. Honestly, it looks really, really delicious, especially with the ginger in there. This can be substituted for cucumbers, pickles, really whatever you want. Egg salad sandwiches are pretty versatile, and you could throw in any of your favorite foods on top of it. I can't wait to dig into this. It just smells phenomenal. Cheers to lunch, and then I have a little bit of mobility training, and then a very special dinner. Cheers. The amount of flavor that the ginger gives to the egg is I haven't tasted this before. This is so good. The egg itself is creamy. It's nice and kind of meaty in a way. Egg salad sandwich, you can't go wrong. But then you throw that ginger on top of that, and it changes the flavor completely. Now it's slightly sweet, slightly spicy, slightly salty. This is, oh God, I need to make more of that ginger. This is really good. Okay, you know, I was starving before this because breakfast was literally nothing. And now I'm ready. Now I'm ready for that mobility stuff and then dinner. I just want dinner at this point. I'm so tired.
Now you may be asking, Paul, why are you in the middle of a field rather than your regular training area right over there? Well, I'll tell you, Barbara. There's a bunch of kids over there, so I didn't really want to have my camera out and filming because that feels really weird. So I'm going to do some of my mobility training here. Now, Shinobu is a very interesting character because she doesn't get a ton of screen time, so don't really know what she's capable of. But we know she's a very powerful demon slayer, a Hashira. And so I'm going to take it as she is just very strong and very flexible. Maybe not so much like Mitsuri and maybe not as fast or strong as our boy Uzui, but she has strength in her own ways. And she likes to just like poisons everybody, you know, so maybe that's her strength. She's just kind of shady about things. I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to try to get in a little bit of mobility training after eating all of that egg and bread and ginger. And it feels really weird in my stomach and being out here right now. But I'm really looking forward to dinner. Because dinner, I think, is interesting. Dinner is something you're not even going to see coming. It's so inconspicuous that it could actually be Shinobu on a plate, which it's not actually her on a plate. Okay, let's get started. I'm just rambling now.
Now this is where I get to actually test my toe touch. I want to make sure that I stretch out a bit more because I did get a little bit cold after having lunch, and it's always important to warm up before you stretch. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's a thing. I was able to touch my toes. I was actually able to get much farther than I've ever been before. This is incredibly exciting for me because I don't think I've been able to do this for 10 years. I actually wanted to see if I could get my knuckles on the floor, but that is an ambition set for later. I am super happy with this so far.
Hey, not gonna lie, Demon Slayer breathing works in real life. You know, they talk about this when you're doing yoga or Pilates or anything like that, and honestly, I think it works. It helps. Concentrating, breathing, learning to relax your body. It's awesome. Good stuff.
But there's also one more test that I had to give myself, a secret test I've been working on for the past 8 weeks, something I've never showed to you guys before.
I wasn't able to do this 8 weeks ago now, getting this low of a squat position without it being absolutely painful. I think that's a huge win for me. I went into this not really thinking of anything other than how can I celebrate food and maybe get a little bit healthier and have that Taisho Era vibe. And honestly, even though I have gained some weight in the past few weeks, actually since I started this, I felt pretty good. I've gone up about 6 pounds since I've started due to just kind of not eating right. So that's a whole nother thing, and some stress in general. But look at my knees. I'm feeling pretty good. Sometimes it's not all about the scale, you know? Like watch this. No problem. The hips feel pretty good. Whew. Even after leg day. I'm actually very happy with myself. And you should be happy with yourself if you're improving in any little way. Could be artwork, could be in the kitchen, maybe you're cooking right now. It could be with whatever training you might have going on. It could be something as simple as maybe you've been trying to wake up a little bit earlier and you've been doing that. To each their own, and we all have our little wins in life and our own demons to fight. Because remember, just like in Demon Slayer, demons never rest. So neither should you. But now we're gonna go have some dinner. And like I said, what is happening with my hair? It's so tall. We're gonna go have some dinner. And I don't think you're expecting this one because it's from a friend of mine and she worked pretty hard on this recipe. So I'm excited to share it.
Now, I did mention you were going to be surprised by what I'm having for dinner, and that comes thanks to Cooking with Chaos, my brand new infinite recipe card system. Stop asking me where I'm pulling these cards out of. Cooking with Chaos is my brand new 60 card infinite recipe card system. That means you can mix and match different proteins, sides, and sauces to make a brand new meal you've never even thought of. And in this case, I'm making the Hamburg steak for dinner. This card is really special because I didn't write this recipe. My friend Onigiri wrote this recipe. She's a VTuber who loves to cook and is a friend of mine, and I asked her to write a few recipes for Cooking with Chaos. Her name is listed on the bottom of the cards she had contributed to Cooking with Chaos, and it's one of my favorite parts about this. I've actually had a few of my other YouTuber chef friends contribute recipes, so maybe one of your favorites is in here. I've been loving using Cooking with Chaos on the daily, but don't take my word for it. Look at what people in the community have already made. The Chaos community is going strong, and I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. So much so that I actually have a booth at Rose City Comic-Con this year in Portland. Rose City Comic-Con is taking place September 5th through the 7th, and we're gonna have a big booth there to show off Cooking with Chaos. I truly believe in these. I use them all the time. My wife uses them all the time. My friends use them all the time. And hopefully you'll use them all the time. I made this for you. I'm a nerd at heart, and you can tell because of red, blue, green, and Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander. Come on, I couldn't not do it. If you wanna pick up Cooking with Chaos, I'll leave a link down in the description below or with QR code on screen. Or come and see me at Rose City Comic-Con this year, September 5th through the 7th. You'll be able to check out the cards in person, and I'm gonna have a few fun giveaways for people who show up. Now, let's make this Hamburg steak from my friend Onigiri for today's dinner.
The Hamburg steak is really a dish that shows how Western influence transformed Japanese food during the Taisho era. Hamburg steak originally came from Germany, where it was simply processed ground beef patty. Dude, what are you doing to this poor egg?
What happened to this egg? Dear Lord. I mean, at this point, just gonna...
Technically, finger seasoning is not in this recipe, but I guess you can pull it off here. When the Hamburg steak reached Japan in the 1800s, it became part of yoshiku, Western-style Japanese cuisine. At first, it was mostly served in really high-end restaurants, but by the Taisho era, where Demon Slayer takes place, Western dishes were becoming more and more accessible. Coffee houses, train stations, dining halls, and department stores started to serve things like Hamburg steak with rice, vegetables, or even bread like shokupan, which we had earlier. It began to represent modernity, eating like the West, but still prepared in a very Japanese way. Unlike a plain grilled steak, Hamburg steak was much more affordable.
It's fine. This amount of shallot going into the very cold meat is not gonna make a difference temperature-wise because we're also going to be cooking it right away. It's okay. Everybody just needs to stop freaking out.
We all can't be perfect like Shinobu, so sometimes we have to fudge the recipe. Ground beef could be stretched with onions, breadcrumbs, and seasonings, and in my case, I'm using pork as a filler. It makes it a really practical way to enjoy something that felt luxurious, but without breaking the bank. Now, one key difference I like doing for my Hamburg steak, and that I've seen done plenty of times in Japanese restaurants, is searing one side of the Hamburg steak for only about 2 minutes and then giving a flip and adding some water directly to the pan and throwing a lid on top of it to help steam the meat.
Nice.
This will give it a really nice texture.
Lucian, you look like a little floof. You know that? Why are you like loafing? Why are you loafing? What's up, buddy? Come here. This is done. Hold on. I'll be right back. This is Lucian. He doesn't get as much screen time as Gandalf because Gandalf is a monster, but I love Lucian. He's so adorable. My little guy, yeah. Okay. He's just chilling, man. He's just vibing right now, but I want to eat that. Gandalf, everyone can hear you. Everyone knows you're a monster, but we love you too. Okay, let's plate this up. This thing is done.
Now make sure that you do temp your Hamburg steak because it can be really thick. I like to cook mine to around 158 Fahrenheit.
Gandalf, don't you lick that, I can hear you.
You can absolutely serve this up as a normal hamburger with the burger bun, but in most cases it's going to be served up on a plate with some side dishes. I'm also using the pan drippings instead of making a gravy for my Hamburg steak.
No, this is broccoli. There's no world where you need broccoli, sir.
In addition to this leftover steamed broccoli I had, I'm throwing some of that cooked down ginger right on top and using the sauce from the ginger on top of the steak as well. To this day, you can find Hamburg steak all throughout Japan, for good reason. It's delicious.
And that, my friends, is the Hamburg steak made by my friend Onigiri. And again, if you want to check out Cooking with Chaos, I'll leave a link in the description or the QR code right here on screen. I'm gonna give this a big old bite. This thing is pretty thick, and the reason is because of that panko breadcrumb we had put in, so it doesn't lose a lot of its body. The breadcrumbs really help things keep their body. It won't shrink too much because the breadcrumbs are absorbing a lot of the liquid and then staying within the meat. This looks fantastic and it smells delicious, and I can't wait to try it with that ginger. Cheers. Salty, meaty. You can taste the pork and the beef because the beef that I used was 96% lean ground beef, but then it's complemented by the very fatty ground pork. So if you're making this, maybe use a super lean beef and a very fatty pork. They help each other a lot. Now, the one thing I'm not getting is too much of that gingery sauce flavor from just pouring the sauce over the top. So now I'm going to take the Scudani ginger and place it right on top and take another bite. This is gonna be a punch in the mouth. Cheers. Hear me out. Someone had asked me to make a Hashira food taste like tier list after this series. This ginger is going to be very high up. Put it on anything. Literally, we put it on the egg salad sandwich earlier. We're having it on rice. Once again, we're having it on this steak. This ginger is one of my new favorite condiments to make. And honestly, I'm just gonna make it a Cooking with Chaos card for a future pack. Like that's so good. But now I have to deal with this guy next week.
I know it's a little late, but I'll join.
So remember to get subscribed so you can see that episode. And if you want to see the entire series so far, I'm gonna leave a playlist in the description below. My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with your food.